you've checked the people on the bus and seen the distribution and everything, and now you've gotten on the bus. And now this is very important. You can actually check this when you are outside, but when you are inside it's more potent. Check the countenance of the bus. The countenance of the bus. What's the general energy on the bus? Is it relaxed? I love a relaxed atmosphere in a bus where the conductor is joking with the passengers, everyone is laughing, everyone is relaxed, maybe some people are even sleeping, and people are just having a good time, maybe listening to music or some other things. But check the countenance of the bus. Is the atmosphere relaxed? And one bonus tip I'll say is probably have a ready-made excuse in case you enter a bus where the countenance is not good.
I was just grabbing the remote.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
turn the volume up.
I remember one day I was coming back from work and I entered a bus, and basically when we're driving, the whole place just felt tense. The funny thing is there was a female on the bus, or maybe two, I think it was just one. But even then, she seemed a bit ras. And the guys too, they were just the way they were, it was just like everyone was waiting for something to happen, And then another thing that alerted me, and this is also an important point under this, check if they are eager to pick up passengers, because that bus didn't seem eager to pick up any other passengers. They passed under bus stop and I don't think they even shouted, oh, this way or anything. They were just going, and so when I realized what was happening, I basically just said, oh, I have something in the office that I didn't pick up and I need to go back right now. Can you drop me now? I was ready to pay the whole fare if they would drop me, but in the end I think I just paid 100 naira rather than 300 to my destination, and then I came down. So I wasn't exactly lying when I said it, because I actually had stuff at the office, but I was not planning to take them with me. But I just had to get down from that bus, and I didn't want it to look like, oh, I know what you guys are planning to do. So I was just like, oh, I might need to get back to my office and pick up some things. And another thing to note, if you are doing this, preferably do it when the bus has stopped or the bus has slowed down. So me, when I realized the atmosphere on this bus is not good, and I don't know, I think they might be planning to rob me or something, I waited until we got to a point where there was traffic, and so the bus stopped, and then I was just like, hey, I've left something. I just acted like I was in a hurry. Oh, I have something in the office, I need to get down, and I just started getting down immediately. And at that point, if they are on the highway and they are speeding, they can just speed up, and decide not to drop you. But since the bus had already stopped, there was no way they could really stop me from just jumping down, and I just came down. I've forgotten whether they asked for money or not, but I just came down. I need to go back, and I left. And I honestly believe that they might have been criminals on that bus or something, but I was able to, escape that by looking at the countenance on the bus. And one lesson to learn here is that even if there is a woman on the bus, she could be among the criminals.
Did you know?
What?
It takes men an additional 7 seconds to perceive a woman as a threat compared to a man. Isn't that wild?
I heard a story of someone he was telling me who got robbed, or he was talking about his friend who got robbed on a bus, and it was even the woman that slapped him and demanded for his valuables and everything, and helped beat him up before they threw him out somewhere. And so just because there are women on the bus does not mean that bus is not a bad or a criminal bus. In fact, they might not be part of the criminals, but they could be victims also, like you. And so you still have to check the countenance on the bus. And although I feel like if a woman is part of them, you'll be able to see from her countenance, she won't have that feminine energy or something. So just be aware of the countenance on the boss. Now I'll use this as a segue. I think that's a word, right? SEGWAY, segue.
Wow! Nice segue.
A segue into the story of how my second phone was stolen. My phone has been stolen twice, and I'll just narrate both of them now. But the second time, it was basically I was on a bus, and the first thing, the bus didn't have too many passengers, so that was already a red light. And then I got on the bus, and I remember thinking like the atmosphere was weird, but I was just like, yeah, I'm going to continue. Like I remember visibly thinking like this atmosphere is weird, should I get down? But I decided not to get down. And then basically the conductor came to my side, and he stretched his hand over me and was trying to wind up the window, and it was like, it's not winding up, can you help me put your hand and drag it up? And I was busy putting my hand and dragging it up. And one thing, there were actually 3 people on that bus, and there were 3 people on that bus. They later picked up a 4th person, but the 3 people who were initially on the bus were all in on it: the driver, the conductor, and 1 passenger. And that passenger was sitting beside me. So while the bus driver was like, drag up the window, drag down the window, help me fix it, I'm sure that person, my phone was in my pocket, and he must have brought out the phone as I was distracted. And that's another point. I'll visit this on the next point, but you shouldn't keep any valuable in your pocket at all. But that for this case, he was telling me drag it up, drag it down, and I was like, I felt a bit suspicious. Why is this a priority now to fix this window? It's not like it was even raining or anything. And then afterwards, we got to a point, and they were like, oh, the traffic is too much, they can't go to their destination, and they were also not picking up passengers. That's under red light, and bless me, so they said the traffic was too much and they couldn't go all the way, so they were turning back, that we should come down. They had to go back to where they were coming from, and that's under red light. If they stop their journey in the middle of, I'm just putting a lot of red lights, but I feel like it's still all under the countenance of the boss.
Under my umbrella.
If they stop their journey in the middle of the journey, basically, and tell you they have to turn back and you should come down, at that point, better check yourself to make sure everything is complete. So basically, I came down after all the distracting, after my phone had been taken, and then that was when I realized the phone was gone. Sad story, but now that I look back on it, it's a learning experience, and I got all those red lights from it and changed a lot of things, and so I don't think I can be gotten in that way anymore. Now, the second time the phone was stolen, it's an even sadder story. We had just landed. You guys already know what I'm referring to, or you've already guessed. We had just landed in a plane, and this person was sitting beside me. He had been kind of talkative through the flight, and we were just talking and everything. He seemed really nice. He was even elderly. But then we had just landed, and suddenly he just got impatient and wanted to jump off the plane. Now I'll probably narrate this in full in another video, but basically, after we got off the flight, I realized, okay, I'm not with my phone, and I was allowed to back on the plane to check, and I saw that the phone was not there. And I remembered the man and how friendly he was, and then how eager he was to get off the flight afterwards, and I was like, wow. And the most ironic part of it was, this was not a domestic flight. This was an international flight from the USA back to Nigeria. I'm just like, you are flying internationally and you are picking pockets as an elderly person. I'll get into all that in the next video. Like, that's just crazy on its own. And I will also mention this in my next point because it's kind of buttresses a point that I make in my next points. So I'll bring up the story again.